We're talking about proof of work, Zach, not just mining. This is all for all the proof of work coins that are out there that are currently under attack from regulators around the globe. So Erik Thedéen is the VP, as I understand it, of the European Securities and Markets Authority, or the vice chair rather. And he says that proof of work should be banned in favor of proof of stake. The reason being is that proof of work is too energy intensive. Now, this is a conversation that's been happening ad nauseum for the last year plus. Notably, Elon Musk had that tweet back in April that kind of tanked the crypto market by like a nice 50%. And he said, hey, we're not going to be accepting Bitcoin because it's too energy intensive, or at least until it transfers to more renewable energy sources. Doesn't mean that conversation has ever gone away. It doesn't mean we're still in the middle of it, right? And now we're seeing that governing bodies from these regulators are cracking down on it even more, and they want to get rid of proof of work in favor of proof of stake. I can go on and talk about why one is better than the other or vice versa, but I want to throw it up to George and get your take on this. I don't know. Any new thoughts on this? Because we've definitely covered this topic a lot on the hash so far. But every day it seems to be like a new governing body is taking the side of proof of stake.
Yeah, this is really convenient timing as well. There's a Congress hearing on this soon. I think actually tomorrow. Politicians are slick, man. They think they're slick, at least, I swear. I also think it's a really weird comment. He's talking about banning proof of work mining in the EU. And where exactly are the big mining operations in the EU, right? We have data from Cambridge that suggests a small percentage of Bitcoin's hash rate comes from Ireland and Germany, but Cambridge themselves put an asterisk on that data and said something like, there's little evidence of large mining operations in these countries that would justify these figures. And it's likely due to, redirected IPs with VPNs or some sort of proxy service. Not to sound like too much of a conspiracy theorist, but I think it's largely performative. There's no substance to this, right? This regulator has an idea about proof of work, says he doesn't like it, uses platform to say we should ban in the EU, has no teeth. Zach, throw it down.
I want to ask a question of Christy, because I think it's interesting to kind of peel it back. I want to understand, as a design choice, now here in 2022, it seems like proof of work, proof of stake, two competing technologies that you can choose from. But when Bitcoin launched, proof of work was a necessary design choice. And I just wanted you to sort of unpack why proof of work is what it is and what proof of work does that proof of stake hadn't yet been capable of doing when there was no network around which these coins could be circulated. So why proof of work? Let's just peel it back a second and converse. I'll throw it to you, Christy.
So proof of work mining is a way of securing the blockchain, and it's an important way of securing the blockchain for a proof of work blockchain. The idea is that you have to expend some energy, you have to invest something in the process of mining and prove that you did that in order to participate. And it's to prevent spam, it's to prevent interference, it's to prevent hacking and all kinds of nastiness that we don't want to happen to break the blockchain. And this was a massive innovation for security and for cryptography when it happened. And then proof of stake came along later, and it became a way of participating in a blockchain without having to expend the energy. It's saying you can sort of buy a stake. You can buy some security proof on a blockchain. And there are people who think it's fantastic. There are others who don't think it is as secure, who think it's riskier. And then there are questions of decentralization that, may or may not bear out in terms of, will it be taken over? Can a blockchain more easily be taken over by a centralized power who buys more and more stake in it? I guess you could say the same thing with proof of work if you buy more and more miners, but I think it's something that will still have to play out in terms of the pros and cons. But I think it's interesting that we have three of us, and Zach, I'm not discounting you, but three of us who are all about proof of work on this topic.
Get wrecked, Zach. Get wrecked.
Yeah.
I'm proof of stake, man. Energy efficient.
I'm going to defend myself a little bit. I do think that proof of stake is interesting, but I think it's just very different than proof of work. And that's something that these comments from all these politicians just gloss over. They think that the two are synonymous, and they think that you can just kind of use this for one for the other when they have very different applications. Proof of work enables you to verify the chain from the beginning, from 2009 all the way till present day. You can verify that same amount of Bitcoin have been there, that your old transactions are there, that other people's old transactions are there. Proof of stake has some design choices that means that necessarily you can't always trust that chain from its genesis block, which means, and often Bitcoin core developers argue this, you can't really use it for money because you can't really audit it all the way back. But I think it is just notable, and the takeaway for me from this article and from this instance of this EU regulator talking is, again, we see people think that they're the same thing and they're synonymous, and you can just kind of plug and play with different consensus mechanisms.